Yo, are we live? It's been hella dry on this side when it comes to the politics. Do I have any political books over here? Oh, I got plenty. Triggered by Donald Trump Jr. That was lit. Black America. I would consider the Martin Luther King book. Where's that Robert F. Kennedy book? White Rage. The New Welfare Consensus. What is this? Irrational exuberance. What the fuck? Well, whatever have you. Obviously, you can see we're in a political mood. Listen, I have no particular fluff on this video. You see the mic is directly in the hand so you can hear me clearly. I wanted to go over something that I did research upon, and it is not to be contrary or oppositional. It is just to lay out some facts. Maybe what I'll do on the next installment is to lay out the opposite end of research. But for those who love Donald Trump for whatever reason they love Donald Trump, and for those who speak on Donald Trump in a socialization research type of effect, whereas your favorite influencer's favorite YouTuber said they're voting for this person, and you listen to the facts that they give day in and day out as they continue to abreast you on this political dynamic and the situations thereof. I am going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. I did a little research on when Donald Trump actually had the job, as the 45th president? From January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021, my research was done. What actually occurred and took place within Donald Trump's presidency, right? So just hear me out. I'm going to read it verbatim based on how I guess, read it, heard it, and then wrote it. Here are some of the key pieces of legislation per my research. Number 1, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That was on the 22nd of December 2017. One of the most notable legislative achievements of his presidency within that time period. The Tax Cuts and Job Acts reduced the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21% and temporarily lowered individual tax rates. It aimed to stimulate economic growth by providing tax relief to businesses and individuals. The impact was the law resulted in significant tax cuts for corporations and wealthy individuals. He is one of them, with mixed outcomes for middle and lower income families, based on if they knew the information that those of a more significant wealth knew. Some provisions, particularly for individuals, were set to expire after 2025. In the meantime, in between time, where he has the opportunity to continue those particular tax rates and tax cuts. The First Step Act in 2018 was a bipartisan criminal justice reform bill aimed to reduce recidivism, as in laws that are too difficult to be innocent of. Okay, so laws that have crimes, obviously crimes that are easy to break based on a circumstance. So reduce recidivism and address sentencing disparities. It provided more discretion to judges in sentencing nonviolent offenders, marijuana, drug dealers, and expanded rehabilitation programs for prisoners. The law shortened mandatory minimum sentences for certain nonviolent offenses, jaywalking, particularly drug-related crimes, marijuana, and helped inmates seek early release based on good behavior. He pardoned Kodak Black, and he made a deal to get A$AP Rocky out of prison. Number 3, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. This agreement benefited American workers, especially in manufacturing and agriculture, by requiring that more goods be made in North America. The USMCA replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement. It included new labor standards, intellectual property protections, and regulations for digital trade. The Virginia Mission Act was on June 6, 2018. This law overhauled the Veterans Affairs healthcare system, making it easier for veterans to seek private care outside of the VA system. It expanded healthcare access for veterans and consolidated several VA programs under a single streamlined system. The CARES Act, Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, March 27th, 2020. The CARES Act was passed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. It provided economic relief to individuals, businesses, and healthcare providers, including direct payments to citizens, expanded unemployment benefits and funds for the PPP loans that you were receiving, Paycheck Protection Program. By the way, me personally, I didn't see any of that. That free money that Trump and Biden was giving out, those checks, PPP loans, I didn't see any of that. This was the largest stimulus package in U.S. history, with over $2 trillion in aid designed to stabilize the economy during the pandemic's early stages. Executive orders on immigration, a travel ban, Executive Order 13769 for all of those who are trying to fact check me. January 27th, 2017, this executive order banned travel from several predominantly Muslim countries. It was met with legal challenges and was modified over time. The BWC, border wall construction. Trump issued orders to allocate funds for the construction of a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Funding and legalizing battles over the war dominated much of his presidency. Trump attended to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which protected young immigrants from deportation. What we have to realize is a young immigrant turns into a well-involved adult immigrant. So even with that, you still have to be cautious and careful. This cautionary action was blocked by the courts, but the attempt, it described much of his admiration, but as well, it described and defined much of his administration's immigration policy. The OCRA, the Opiate Crisis Response Act of 2018, definitely his white brothers and sisters were getting on him about that. This law addressed the opiate epidemic by increasing funding for treatment, prevention, and recovery efforts. Impact. It aimed to reduce opiate-related deaths and improve access to care for people suffering from addiction, specifically opioids, pills. The John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019, August 13th, 2018, it was signed. Overview, it was a defense spending bill, authorized over $700 billion, the Billy, in military funding, pay raises for troops, new military equipment, and cyber defense. Any of our brothers and sisters fighting in arms during that time period, you can as well comment below to confirm if this was true or not. Did you receive a pay raise? Did you see new military equipment and new ideas and practicalities within the cyber defense system? It bolstered U.S. military capabilities and was part of Trump's focus on strengthening national defense. Economic Growth, Regulatory Relief, and Consumer Protection Act, May 24th, 2018. This law rolled back some provisions of the Dodd-Frank Act, which was passed in response to the 2008 financial crisis. It aimed to provide regulatory relief for smaller banks because you know Mr. Burns, Jacob Rothschild, owns every single bank. While proponents argued it helped community banks and credit unions, critics believed it weakened financial protections. The Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act, Trump voted and voiced his support for this law, although it was passed during Obama's administration. Good job, Obama. In 2016, JASTA, as it's acronymed, allows families of 9/11 victims to sue foreign governments, specifically Saudi Arabia, for their involvement in the terrorist attacks. Other notable actions that happened during Trump's presidency was the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement in 2017. Trump announced the U.S. would withdraw from the Paris Agreement, arguing that it was unfair to the U.S. economy. Repeal of the net neutrality. The Trump administration, through the federal commissions, they rolled back net neutrality regulations in 2017. Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, significantly shaping the court's ideological balance for the years to come. Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. These laws and actions reflect Trump's policy priorities during his time in office, when he had the job. That's what I'm talking about. And criminal justice reform. What we need to realize is that, it could go deeper. It's a lot of research here. Once we get her policies, we could talk about it, but we can definitely talk about some of the things that we currently know right now, right? Was Kamala Harris's mother a full-blown Hindu? Yes, she was. Shyamala Gopalan Harris was and is a Hindu, born in Chennai or the Madras, India. Tamil descent, a renowned cancer researcher who immigrated to the United States in the 1950s to pursue higher education in her PhD at the University of California, Berkeley, where she met economist Donald Harris, who was going for his PhD in economics. Her parents divorced in 1970. Kamala was born in 1964. So at the age of 6 or 7, she no longer had her father. She was being raised by a full-blown Hindu woman with her sister. Her sister is married to a black man who's also a lawyer, and they have a child who looks similar to the mother or the grandmother, but is white-skinned. Donald Harris did not raise Kamala Harris. He was involved in her early life, but he didn't play a central role in raising her. She was raised by a full-blown Hindu, but she continues to tell the public that she is a Christian. I'll stop there because I don't want to trigger anybody. And the point of this video was to talk about how Donald Trump executed when he was president of the United States. We should be very, very careful to choose nuance over experience. This is not a conversation about tradition or classicism versus modernism or socialism. This is a conversation about execution. Can you get the job done? We have one person who is unproven and one person that is proven. And for some reason, this still seems like a juxtaposition. But it's me. It's you. It's us. And we're in this together. We'll see you soon in the next installment. Over and out, Doc. You gotta leave him with a hangnail.